you on what the sport of archery entails and different ways that people have used archery in competitions in the most recent years. First off, raise your hand if this is what you think of when you think of archery. It's like Robin Hood, the traditional stick and string, and you're flinging out another stick at a distance. But this isn't extremely accurate, even though these have been used for over 25,000 years, dating back in Africa, which is when they found the first arrowheads. And it has been a lot more accurate than throwing stones, which was what was used before this for hunting and for combat. But in the most recent years, archery has transformed into something that is barely recognizable, and it is what looks more like this. This is my setup that I have at home. Most of these setups cost around anywhere from $800 to $3,000. My setup is probably a little bit over $1,000, and it took me a lot of money to save that up. And that's actually, you'll notice that like the symbol on my bow matches my hat, which is the company that has offered to sponsor me if I wanted to go pro, but I decided not to because I would have rather go to college, and also it's not a very highly profitable thing. And you're not really guaranteed any money unless you win tournaments, and even if you do win tournaments, like the highest tournaments you can win are somewhere between like $500,000, but like there's so many people in the drawings, it's really difficult to do that, and you'd have to go out to like Vegas and everywhere else, and it's crazy. So that's kind of like my background with it. Now I'm going to like run you through how you'd actually work one of these devices. First off, you need a release. A release is something that either wraps around your wrist or else you grip onto it. What the release does is it'll clamp onto the string right here, and then you'll be able to pull back the string of the bow without actually having to use your fingers, which was what was used by like the more traditional bows. The purpose of this is when you're pulling back the string with your 3 fingers, it causes a lot of tension on your fingers, and also you can't release all fingers perfectly. You'll torque the arrow at a weird angle. There's no way to perfect it. By using release, it's almost like using a little tweezers. And this will perfectly release the string at the middle section, so you're not like pulling up or down on the arrow, and it will be a lot more accurate than traditional bows are. After you do that, you want to grip the bow. To grip the bow, you want to hold it right here. And what a lot of people do when they start is they try to like grip the bow so that the grip will be like that, and that's not correct because then you're going to be holding a bow like this. There's 2 things that are kind of wrong with that. First off is when the string flies forward, it will whip you right here. And that's what a lot of kids do, and it's good that they do that with very weak bows because it hurts a lot, and you'll get like chafing here sort of, and it'll be like really red, and you will bleed and everything. It's not fun. And also the second thing is it'll create torque. Whatever you can do, well, a lot of people say like archery is an art form, and like you want to perfect it, and it's really hard to perfect. But like when you go like this, when you release the arrow, you're automatically going to be pushing the bow to the side. And when you push the bow to the side, that sends the arrow off at an angle, which is not preferred because you can't, there's too many variables in it, and you can't predict where that arrow is going to fly to. If the arrow flies straight, you can better predict where that arrow is going to eventually come in contact with. So after you get the grip of the bow and you have your release, you want to put the arrow and connect it onto the string. You can see down here, it's a little bit hard to see, but there's nocks on the arrows, and you can connect those nocks right onto a D-loop, which is right here, which is like in the middle of the string. And once you connect that, the arrows will run down through here, and they'll sit on the rest right here. And they'll sit there until they're released, and that'll house the arrow. After you put the arrow on the string, and you have your grip, then you can attach your release to the string, right at the D-loop, which will be right behind where the nock of the arrow sits. Once you have that connected, you can actually pull back your bow, and you can see right here on the string, this is like a little, it's like a really small thing on the string, it's like called a kisser button. The point of the kisser button is to house it right here on the side of your cheek, so that it like stabilizes, so that every time you're looking out the front of the bow, you're looking at the same area, same place, because it's like shooting a bow is not like you're having a different scenario each time. You want to have it as similar as possible every time you're doing it. So you have that there, and then you want to have the string of the bow on the very corner of your nose. And then you want your dominant eye looking out towards the sights, which you can't really see it here, but it's like a little peep. And like that's what they call it, a little peep sight. And practically what it is, it's a little circle on the string that you can look through onto your sight right here, which will have a little pin. And practically what you see is like a pin in the middle of the sight, and then you can focus wherever that pin is on the target. And that is how you aim a bow practically. And then after that, you will release, hence the name release, and the arrow will project